Hi, my name is Destanee Torres, and I decided to do my research paper on the way gender norms affect romantic relationships. Gender norms teach us what is expected of girls and boys around the world through the experiences that we have and the people we surround ourselves with. Individually, we're all taught what is expected according to whatever gender we are at birth from before we're even born. And as we get older, all of these norms just become more and more prominent in our everyday lives, especially in regards to relationships. We know what is expected of us, and we know that we're viewed differently if we decide to step out of these norms. And we're taught these expectations through our family, religion, peers, social media, and even our education system. Whether we like it or not, there's an influence of gender norms even before we're born. The second our parents find out the gender of the baby, everything changes. For baby girls, it's pink dresses, pink walls, princesses, bows, everything assigned for females. And for baby boys, it's quite the opposite. It's blue balls, race cars, superheroes, etc. And the influence of these gender norms only gets stronger as they get older. As the kids get to about 15, 16, we all generally know what is expected of us when it comes to dating. A study done on 15, 16-year-old girls revealed that for the most part, teenage girls felt as though it was the male's responsibility to pursue them. This shows that from a young age, we're still teaching girls that they should be chased after boys rather than making their own pursuits towards the opposite sex. And this is also showing that boys, it's their responsibility to make any type of pursuit if they want any type of relationship with anyone of the opposite sex. I myself grew up with this same type of knowledge being put into me. If my mom ever knew that I had liked a boy, she would immediately react in a way that was about my behavior and the way I was presenting myself to him. It was always act like a lady, be presentable for him all the time, wear makeup, don't do anything that isn't ladylike in front of him. And to this day, my mother still tells me these things, and she strongly behaves on them if she's dating or if I'm dating or any of my siblings are dating. And I realized as I got older that it's not just my mom who does this. It's everyone's parents. Everyone's parents have their certain way of showing their children the way that dating is supposed to be and how they're supposed to behave in front of the opposite sex. And I myself have the way I learned it is from my mom, and I'll probably pass the same thing on to my children just because that's the way I was taught. Another study done in Australia and Italy proved that women follow common and feminine gender norms such as thinness, niceness, and modesty at an extremely high level. By conducting this study, they proved that as we grow older, these norms on how females are supposed to act in relationships only get stronger. On social media and online dating sites, we see gender norms far stronger than we do in real life. By looking at people's profiles, you can see exactly what they're looking for, and more often than not, they're looking for stereotypical, traditional gender norms in regards to relationships. A study conducted by Elizabeth Rybarski proved that different types of media outlets influence the way we view the ideal relationships. By using the cultivation theory, Rybarski showed that with repeated exposure to relationships through different types of media outlets, we can change the way that we're taught the norms of relationships. For example, the way that Good Housekeeping portrays romantic relationships is far different than the way Cosmopolitan magazine would depict an ideal relationships. Within the online dating, there's even more influence on gender norms. A study done on college students showed that apart from physical attractiveness, men and women were more attracted to those who followed gender norms. For males, they showed a preference for the woman who appeared more caring and maternal, and while females were more attracted to males who seemed more financially stable and able to provide for her or for a family. We're still displaying that as a society, we're looking for traditional norms while searching for romantic partners. Social media being as influential as it is, the norms taught through social media are becoming more and more specific, especially towards teenagers. When you log on to social media sites, you'll see a large amount of people in relationships, pictures with their significant other. Whether the relationships are healthy or toxic, we only see what people choose to show us, which makes the idea of being in a relationship or being in love romanticized. We all want to be in it, and we behave certain ways that we know are going to try and get the opposite sex to be attracted to us. The gender norms that have been in place for multiple decades have a huge impact on the way we live today. And one of the most important factors on the start of all of these norms are because of religious views. Religious views are a major source of what is acceptable in a relationship, whether it has to do with specific gender norms or what the ideal relationship looks like. In the United States, religion has a huge role in what a relationship is, and majority of the religious groups promote heterosexual monogamous relationships that eventually will start a family. In a study done by Carlos Ciordia, it was found that the traditional beliefs on how a family is supposed to look like is for the most part all derived from religious ideology. Although a vast amount of norms associated with relationships and gender were put in place due to religion, these norms have become so normalized that people who don't even affiliate with any type of religious group or church still feel the pressure from society to abide by traditional gender relationship norms. One major example of how these norms affect relationships is the widespread beliefs on marriage. Specifically, almost everyone in the United States still feels the need to ask for the father of the bride's permission before asking to be married. However, over the last few decades, many women who have been involved in feminist movements or pro-women movements have expressed that they don't like this method simply because it's basically treating the woman as property, showing that they belonged to their father before and after marriage they're going to belong to their husbands. People are starting to see this tradition as a thing of the past due to the amount of change that has gone on in regards to men and women. From the religious viewpoint, the beliefs on how marriage is done is extremely traditional. Many of the churches in the United States, as well as many conservative people who don't affiliate with any church, have been fighting for marriage to be allowed only between a man and woman, making homosexual relationships illegal for marriage. However, this was not taken into effect. As of June 26, 2015, it became legal in all 50 states for heterosexual and homosexual marriages. However, those people who were fighting to preserve the traditional marriages are still attempting to keep the norms the same for families. There had been a bill proposed in many southern states that would make it illegal for homosexual people to adopt children. This bill has not been passed or denied, but it still shows how strongly people feel about keeping the sanctity of families and relationships in line with the traditional norms and values. Our society has greatly affected the way we view relationships and gender expectations for many generations. Whether we're learning about what is acceptable or what is not from our parents, social media, our religion, or anything that we experience in our everyday lives, we may not realize it, but seeing how others behave greatly influences the way we act, and even more as we get older. In some ways, this is a good thing because as a whole, our society is appreciating the same values, but sometimes the beliefs that are spread and normalized are toxic and hateful towards other human beings. Relationships are always changing and the norms are slightly shifting as the years go by, but society's influence on our relationships and gender roles are extremely influential, and I look forward to seeing how they change over the rest of my lifetime. Thank you.